What is up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I hope some people are here. I spent the last 5 minutes trying to make sure that my connection would be okay. A friend of mine just texted me, it's 7:01, don't look at your phone. It's time to go. Yeah, I know, but I gotta text my friends, make sure that, the Vexer crowd is all here. I wish there was a way for me to look at my stream and just the stats of it. I just want to know what the FPS is, what the number of dropped frames are. I want to monitor how things are going. I mean, I think I see it's okay right now, but who knows, man? Who knows? Let me also pop into my disc. Oh, there we go. There's a dashboard that I can see. All right, we're at 24 followers. Almost halfway to affiliate status, which is great. Mostly, not because I really want to monetize this that much, but mostly because, for me, this is also a learning experiment. So I want to understand more about how Twitch works. And so one of the ways to do that is to become a Twitch affiliate and understand subs and donations and all that. Oh, new follow. Thank you, Mikey, a fellow Nerd Stronger. Super happy about that. Thank you for swinging by. I appreciate the follow. That brings us up to 25, I think, which is super exciting. So I am seeing a lot of dropped frames here. I'm seeing like 17%. This always happens on Tuesday nights. I think that my connection is going to be okay, and then it's not. I swear to God, I did a test with full 1080p streaming, 4,500 kilobits a second, and I did it on like I don't know, Tuesday at 3 o'clock, and it was perfect, 0 drop frames. So my only conclusion is that either my entire building's internet is shit at this time, or Twitch is shit at this time. I don't know, but I dropped my resolution to 720. I dropped my kilobits a second to like 3,500. Thought that would do it, but I'm still seeing 20% drop frames. So I'm so sorry if a fifth of the frames you are getting right now are dropped, and if that makes it totally miserable. For the people that are in chat, please let me know if it's crap or not. I should be able to see your chat as soon as it comes in. I've got my dashboard up on my phone. Your chat will come in there. I can see the viewers and everything right there. So if you're watching, let me know, and I will keep an eye on that. You know what? I'll just put my phone right here. Boom, I can see it right there. Updates. Let's do updates. First of all, I got a Discord. Awesome. Super fun to keep that open and just talk to people. I've already had a couple of folks in there. I'll give some shout outs right now because why the fuck not? Oh, I don't have Discord open. I have it open the rest of the day, I promise. Seeing some drops, but it's manageable. Okay, that's good. I don't really know what else to do. You know what? I guess I could probably adjust the bitrate down even further, but it's already fluctuating between 2,500 and 3,500. I don't know if it's going to get much better than that. But let's try. All right. 2,500. And let's make the encoder ultra fast. Chat is on the screen. Yes, it is. I mostly did that so that I could look at the stream and I could still see chat, but also because if I were to post this on YouTube later, which I have already, I'll just be talking to no one. No one would be able to see what chat is all about. And then, of course, I realized that I forgot to put the chat box on the primary screen where we work. And therefore, there is still no chat. It's only on this screen. So, I'm a genius. I think I could probably add it, though, during the stream. Should be fine. As always, let me know how the volume of the mic is, how the audio is. Let me know how the volume of the music is. I play the same thing every time. It's Zelda and Chill by Mikkel and Game Chops. Excellent track. Very good. They've also got a Mario and Chill, which we can switch to in the second half of the stream, which I love. So I'm all about that video game lo-fi. All about it. And then there's also, of course, a album called Ultra Ball, which is amazing because it's Pokemon. And it's great. So we'll listen to all that during the stream. Okay, so updates. First of all, we got a Discord. The server is Vexer. I'll put the Discord in chat, an invite for it, just so that everybody who is watching can view that. Edit invite link, expire never, max number of uses, no limit. I have to do this every time. And how do I put in chat? Well, hopefully this will just work. Yeah. Okay, so that's the Discord. Jump in there. What else? I should really keep a list of things that I need to talk about. Okay, so first big thing is that I've decided to try different things with the stream. That's no surprise. Tonight is going to be a community workshop. And what that means is that I've realized that there may be some number of people out there, that percentage may be very high, who don't give a shit about my campaign. And although it is convenient for me to do prep on the stream, that is probably not going to help the stream grow necessarily. So what I decided to do tonight is do a pilot run of Community Workshop. And that means that we are going to take ideas from chat. So if you are a DM and you have things you are working on and you want feedback on them, or you want just another perspective, or you want us to plus it up a little bit or whatever, throw it in chat. I will take a look at all the things that were nominated and we'll pick a couple things and we'll just go. We can always fall back to my campaign if necessary. The other thing about it is that, I'm just seeing how this goes. So if this is more interesting, more engaging for people, then great, we'll roll with that. Oh, I forgot to say, if you're not a DM and you're a player and you want something worked on, and you want just the community to throw around like a character idea, or you're thinking about multi-classing and we can work on something like that together, I don't care. I just want us to have a good time creating stuff, which leads me into what I always want to do, which is sort of recap the ethos of the stream, why I'm doing this at all. And I just want to remind people that this is a community, or a developing community, for people to create together around D&D. And why is that? Because most people create alone, and that's cool. And I create alone all the time. But I've had a career in game design. I run this studio called Game Cake. I'm one of the chief creative people. I'm also the operational side of the business. But before that, I was a game designer at Disney. And I've had a career of creating things with other people. And I think that it's something that, one, a lot of people don't get to do very often. Because unless you're very lucky and you have a hobby that you have other creatives that work on it with you, or you have a career like game design where you are working creatively with other people on a daily basis, a lot of people don't get that experience. They don't get that feeling that I have of being on a whiteboard with someone and feeling like, man, I'm so inspired because ideas are flowing back and forth. Like, I say something, this person sort of grabs that and twists it and turns it into something even newer, and like we're just bouncing back and forth, and there's this great creative problem solving back and forth dynamic that happens with you or one or two or more of the people, and that's really exciting, and I want to see if I can capture that here. So it's going to require some number of viewers. It's going to require people being active in chat and participating and not just watching me the whole time. And so, if you want to lurk, that's totally fine. But if you want to be a little creative, if you've never been creative before and you want to try it, this is a great opportunity, because we are never going to shame you here for throwing out an idea or trying something. We want to foster creativity. We want to foster open-mindedness. We want to educate people on the right way to be creative with others. So things like letting go of your ego, being able to kill your babies, not being too attached to any one idea, being open to feedback and constructive criticism. These are all essential components of being creative with someone else. And we want to practice that, and we flex those muscles here. So that's what I'm interested in doing. That's, I think, hopefully what other people are interested in doing. There were a couple people that saw my Reddit post in r/DM Academy about this, and they thought the idea of collaborative prep was interesting. They came to join the Discord, and I hope some of them are here tonight or will be joining us tonight as well. So that's the ethos of the stream. You can always recap that below the Twitch stream in the panels if you want to. We've also changed our streaming schedule to be Mondays and Fridays at 7 p.m. at 12 p.m. respectively. So evening stream on Mondays and lunchtime stream on Fridays. Part of that is because I play D&D on Wednesday, and so doing previous Tuesday stream, Wednesday D&D, Thursday stream was a lot for my brain. I also like run a company and have to make that thing tick in the time of coronavirus. So my brain just couldn't handle it. And so I was like, I need to space this out a little bit. So that's the reason for the change. Hopefully there aren't some people that are affected by that you guys can still join me. And I'll probably keep tweaking the schedule until whenever, who knows. But I'll try not to change it too often. Other announcements. Oh, I got a shock mount. I don't know if you guys can see it. This phone's going to fall. But I'm just excited, personally. Look at this beautiful thing. It's awesome. If you guys don't know a lot about Twitch equipment, it's like if you're an engineer like me, it's a really fun side benefit of becoming a Twitch streamer. Look at this thing. It's total independent. The mic is balanced on that. And then there are these like elastic bands that are the only things connecting this inner ring from the outer ring, which means that if I can thump on the desk and you don't hear the vibration of it, you just hear the sound of my impact, which is very different than what I had before. Especially because the keyboard I have is like real clacky. So you would hear the vibrations going all the way from my fingers, through the keys, through the desk, all the way up the mic stand into the mic. And that was no good. So, like I said, to me, the audio engineering aspect of this has been super fun to learn about. So, call me a nerd. Nerds calling me nerds. Maybe that doesn't work, but I thought it was super fun. And then the last thing that I want to talk about are a couple of other people or streamers in the D&D world that I think deserve some attention. I know we don't have a lot of visibility on our channel, but I want to call them out for posterity anyway. And even if 2 people hear about them, that's totally fine with me. The first is Gaming Brews, sort of like my first friend on Twitch. I was just hosting them before this stream. They do D&D prep. They do like 2 or 3 D&D campaigns that you can check out if you're sort of like, you want more D&D content. I don't know the guy's first name. People just call him Brews apparently, but he's super nice, very cool, has a very professional and polished stream. So you should go check out Gaming Brews. And then the second one I want to mention is a company, a very small company located here in LA called Honcholo. I found out 20 minutes before the stream that they got robbed. They are a nerdy jewelry brand, and they're awesome. I love Genevieve and Brandon run that company. The other people that work there are super wonderful. They have the license for D&D, so if you want a super sick D&D ring or a D&D necklace, they have it online. Anyway, their LA store got robbed earlier today, and they lost everything. Now, I don't know. I haven't spoken to them yet, so I don't know if they're insured or not. But if you feel like supporting more local businesses, especially ones like this one that have just suffered something terrible, please go to honcholo.com. I don't even know if that's the website, but just search Honcholo, Hancholo, and go and support them. They've done a lot of stuff in the past related to, yeah, that's the link right there. Thank you, Mikey. I've done charity streams with them in the past. They helped me raise a couple $1,000 for Extra Life to benefit children's hospitals in LA. They are super generous. They've, I think, like done a bunch of stuff for Wizards and the D&D community and Satine Phoenix and stuff. So they're all in that D&D community, and they just suffered a huge hit. So go support them. In fact, I'll be right back. I'm going to show you my Honcholo product. I'm back. First of all, this is my favorite thing that they gave me this because they're super nice. Look at that shit. D20 ring. How awesome is that? It's the fucking coolest is the answer. And I wear it to every D&D game. It makes my hand look like I'm a boss. Also, if you get mugged, this will do some mean damage. So they sell this. They also have super cool pins. Beholder. Slick Dungeon Master pin. D&D logo pin. Ampersand pin. And a cool iron-on patch for DMs as well. I still think this is the fucking coolest thing, though. I'm going to keep it on the rest of the stream to rep Honcholo. I hope you guys come out okay. I hope you're insured. And if you're not, then we will do everything we can to push people towards your store because it is awesome. You guys are awesome. I love playing D&D with you, and I hope it all works out. I'm going to leave this on the rest of the stream. So, please go to Honcholo and support them. It's really, really shitty what happened to them. All right, so that is it for our announcements, I think. And now I want to turn it to you guys. So, tonight's community workshop. Nothing from me, unless, there's nothing anybody wants to work on, which I hope is not the case. What do you guys want to work on? What's some stuff that I can help you facilitate with the rest of this community? There are really smart people in chat. I hopefully can contribute something as well. What's something that you've been struggling with, perhaps? An adventure hook, a narrative for a player, what to do with someone's backstory, a magic item you've been working on, an NPC you've been designing and can't quite figure out, just the general structure of a campaign, what to do with a character you've been working on, or an idea you've been throwing around, or hey, I have to play in this game, they've got a wizard and a cleric and a rogue and a whatever already. Where do I fit in? What's some cool characters that I can do? That's a great thing to do as well. What else can we work on? Do you have like bosses that you want to work on? Combat. Do you want to know what kind of terrain you can use for your combat? How do you spice up that encounter that you've got in your session next week? I don't know. Throw it out there. Put it in chat. Let me know what that's going to be. I'm just going to keep calling out and asking for things until someone gives me something to work on. And if you don't have anything to work on, or you don't want any feedback on something, just throw out something random. Just be like, let's work on this thing. Could be anything. What's your thought process on balancing combat encounters? So that's a cool question. I would love to talk to you about it, of course. So I don't want it to just be, hey, Sean, how do you do this thing? I'm not a master DM. I'm just a guy that likes the game and has been DMing for a couple of years. I'm also a game designer, so that helps. So I can hopefully lend that experience to it as well. But thoughts on balancing combat encounters? Well, I'll start. I'll just say what I think, and I hope other people say what they think as well. But first of all, I think it's hard. I think it's really hard because D&D is so emergent. You don't know what your players are going to do. But also, D&D is complex. It's got, every player has so many different possible abilities. There is terrain to take into account. Also, the monsters are complex. They can take several different actions. If there's multiple monsters, anyway, it's complicated, and you know that. So I think it's very difficult. I think this is the cheap, lazy answer, is that DMing more and more over time, you will get a sense of what is too difficult or too easy for your party. And you might not get an exact, you'll never get it exact. And that's just, you can't get it exact. It's too hard. But you can kind of, over time, get it within a range, like an error range, like plus or minus some percentage of difficulty, such that you can complement that with your in-game improvisational skills. And by that, I mean, you have the screen to protect you. You can change whatever you want to make the encounter what you want. And by the way, Mikey, let me know if this is too abstract, right? Like if you kind of went more like, what's the numerical process that you use, or, or how do you form a baseline? We can get into that too. My thought overall, though, is just that, like, over time you hone that skill, getting closer and closer to that presumptive difficulty level, and then you can, in the game, change hit point values. You can change, all that shit. But, like, you can change hit point values. You can even increase the damage fight if you want to. Like, most likely your players won't notice. I think that's good because it doesn't put as much pressure on people to balance an encounter. Because, in game design, when we're designing a combat enemy or a weapon or something in an actual video game, there is a lot of work that goes into balancing things. I mean, there are whole community managers at some video game companies to just get feedback on whether an item is balanced or not, whether a certain enemy is balanced or not, whatever. It's a lot of work. And I've seen the behind the scenes of this, and I've done some of it myself. There's like huge spreadsheets that, have like on one axis, they'll have all the enemies and all the weapons. And on another axis, they'll have like power levels and, comparing all of them against each other. They'll have formulas that are designed to sort of closely model what a combat interaction might look like and what the expected result is. There'll be all kinds of abstractions and numerical values that game designers use so that in the spreadsheet, they can basically just sort of do manually what DMs are allowed to do on the fly, which is guesstimate the difficulty level and work from there. So doing it numerically is really, really hard. And I think the beauty of dungeon mastering is that you can come up with a lot of it on the fly, honestly. You don't want to be in a situation where you are trying to actually model out all that stuff. I don't think so. I know there are some people there that, like, when they design combat encounters, they'll actually go through the exercise of playing it themselves. They'll have their players' character sheets there. They'll have the enemies, and they'll actually just play out the encounter by themselves. I'm like, God, I really admire that because that is so much work. So much work. Like, I try to limit prep for a session to, like, 1 hour of prep per hour of gameplay, and most of that goes towards like higher-arching things like story, or what are the different things that could happen that I need to prepare for, or generally speaking, how do I make this combat very interesting? If I spend all my time on balancing and numbers, that's like most of my time gone just on like, like it's just a lot of time. I think it's better to go with a rough idea and then from there tweak in game. It's totally fine. And honestly, a lot of times you'll just be on target. And by that, I mean, I feel like the target is big too, Yeah, okay, like, let's say that I have a level 13 party, 5 people. We were just designing a dragon encounter a couple sessions ago, a couple streams ago. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I want it to be challenging. That's why we talked about tactics and stuff. But the truth is that maybe it's a little bit easier than I thought it was going to be. Cool. I can either roll with that and say, I'm going to let the dice roll fall where they may, and it's just an easier encounter. That's fine too. There's so much variance tolerable, right? Like, it's not like a hardcore game where you're like, oh, what? That boss wasn't hard at all. That fucking stupid. I feel robbed. I didn't earn that. In D&D, it's sort of like, yeah, this is a world. It's organic. Things may not be perfectly balanced all the time, and that's totally fine. Or it'll end up being a little harder, and that's within that same acceptable variance. Your players aren't going to question it. Your players are going to say, wow, that was great. We did really well. Like their impression of things is formulated based on, oh my God, it's a dragon. It's going to be really hard. If the fight ends up going easy, it's not because, oh man, the DM, he didn't tweak the numbers exactly to give us a good difficulty range. They just said, oh yeah, we did really well. And vice versa. If it turns out to be harder, they're like, we're struggling. This dragon is super hard. Cool. All of that is within the acceptable range. And so I think like with a much smaller amount of time, you can get to a pretty good result quickly, And obviously there are limits to how much you can tweak in game. You shouldn't be like fudging dice on every roll. You shouldn't be like making up crits or negating crits. You shouldn't be, but things like, hey, I'm going to add another 100 hit points onto this dragon because I know my level 13 players are super stacked with magic items and abilities, and they're very good. Yeah, I'll add 100 hit points off the top just because it's easier. It's just like it gets you to where you need to be. Why not? So those are my thoughts. All to say, what are your thoughts, Mikey T? My go-to tool is Kobold Fight Club, which I think just spits back out the math described in the DMG. Yes, I believe that is what it does as well. I've used Kobold.club. I like it, but I always feel like it gives me encounters that are way easier than they're meant to be. Or maybe another way of stating that is that I don't really trust the math in the DMG. I know that the DMG has a big ol' like mathematical formula. Yeah, that's just been my experience. I don't know. What's your experience been? Has it resulted in, because yours might be different. Has it resulted in really like spot on difficulty for your encounters? I'm actually just really curious because maybe I'm using kobold.club wrong, but I'll spit out a what it calls a deadly encounter, and I'll be like, that was fucking easy. No problem. TBD. Like, let's just open it up right now. I'm going to switch over to my primary view here. And we can open up. Oh, you might have noticed I also got a third monitor. This third monitor is no longer 16 by 10. It's 16 by 9, so it fills up the whole goddamn stream. But yeah, Mikey, I would love to know what your experience with kobold.club has been. And also just your thoughts on balancing encounters in general. I love this, by the way. I want to exchange ideas with other DMs. I want to figure out what they're doing. I want to see what's happening behind your screen so that I can steal it. Maybe you can steal some stuff from me, and we can all steal some stuff from each other. I've had a couple of encounters that have ended up seeming harder than I intended them to be, but the players were nearer to D&D. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's kind of like what I said. Like, the variance is so high. You just don't know what's going to happen when you're balancing combat encounters. It's just difficult. Hey, Root of All Beers. Welcome back to the stream, buddy. I've still assumed in my mind that you're a guy. I don't know why I assumed that, but I'm sorry for gendering you. That's my bad. But welcome to the stream. I'm glad you're here. To catch you up, this is... Oh, you are a guy. Okay, well, that helps. Cool. This is community workshop night, man. So remember how last week you came in and you had a magic item that you wanted some feedback on, and we kind of didn't have the bandwidth to do it? Well, I decided that tonight we're going to prototype community workshop. And community workshop means stuff that you guys want to work on, the community wants to work on. We're going to bring them in, and we're going to work on it all together, and we're going to have a great time. So if there's something that you have that you want to work on that's like, you know, a magic item or an adventure or a narrative or a character backstory or literally anything, we can all work on it together. We got Mikey T in chat right now. We got some other people lurking. And so we, you know, think of us as like your 3 DM wise men. By that, I mean, we're dumb. We don't know your campaign better than you do, but you know, but yeah. Oh, Mikey T just said Kobold Flight Club. He uses it himself. So I was actually, you know, Mikey asked, what are your thoughts on combat balancing? And, you know, I went on a whole fucking spiel, but really I want to know your guys' experience with combat balancing. So Mikey, is that the only thing that you do with combat balancing, or is there something else that you do as well? Like, what's your sort of head to tail approach for combat balancing? And also, while I'm asking you questions, what do you do in game? Do you sort of like, are you like a purist and you're like, I don't fudge anything, I don't change hit points, I don't fudge dice rolls, like I don't do anything behind the screen? Or do you also tweak, and how do you tweak? Just, I want to know more about that. And Root of All Beers, I would love to know what your combat balancing experience is as well, and what approach you prefer to take, because I just find it so interesting that DMs can prep in such wildly different ways. Every campaign is different. Every DM is different. Every set of players has a different set of desires and kind of game that they want to run. They have different experience levels, which means that they're gonna, you know, fare differently in different combat scenarios. It's just so fascinating. Anyway, gotta run my GM. Oh, no worries, dude. Thank you for dropping by and popping a question in here. I really appreciate it, and I hope that you have fun at your D&D game. Thanks, man. I'll see you later. For those of you who are left, once again, just remember this is a community workshop, so anything you guys want to work on, post it in chat. It could literally be anything, and we'll just, you know, if you want an idea, if you want some feedback on it, if you want notes on balancing, if you don't know where to start, if you just want people to like make something of an idea, just throw it out there. If you want to tell us about your next session, and we can all sort of like talk about your next session, ask you questions. I always find that helps, just talking through something. Even if I kind of know what I want to happen already, I have the idea, I've worked on it, it's all good. Even just talking to other people about it gives me new ideas and gives me ways to improve it that I couldn't have come up with on my own. Because My perspective on creativity in general is that you have very disparate ideas in your brain. And when those disparate ideas that are very different from each other collide, that's when creativity happens. That's when the magic happens. So that's also why I tell people who are trying to get into creative fields, go and read a lot. Go and expose yourself to the world. Go talk to a lot of other people, because that's where those ideas come from. And they're not related directly to what you're working on, but they're going to collide with what you're working on. And that's going to cause new ideas to come about. So that's what I'm saying. Like even if you've got something that's already fully formed, throwing it into this community and just letting it churn and seeing what comes out could be a really, really cool way of leveling up whatever it is that you're working on. I was going to look at kobold.club, and we were going to look at this. So, root of all beers, what I was saying earlier is that kobold.club is like, has never worked well for me. I know that it basically does what math the DMG has for encounter balancing, but I always find that it is way, way easier than I want it to be. If I put in a deadly encounter, or what it calls a deadly encounter, that encounter is nowhere near deadly for my players anyway. I don't know if that's because I stack my players with magic items, if they're all experienced D&D players or what, but they crush whatever encounter this thing thinks is good for them. I was going to give you an example of it. Like 5 and 12. No, they're level 13 now. And I don't know, random deadly. And another random deadly. It's not even on there. Oh. It's because it's got this stupid filter on. Random deadly. An Earth Elemental CR5, a Treant CR9, and a War Priest CR9, they would eat through this encounter. They would eat through it, like, completely. Yeah, I always feel this way. And then it's a problem because it doesn't give you, like, a scale. It just tells you easy, medium, hard, or deadly. So if I add 2 Treants, it's still just deadly. It doesn't tell me anything else that's useful about how much harder the encounter got. So, like, yeah, I know that this XP went up, but, like, that doesn't even mean anything to me. Like, what does XP have to do with the difficulty of an encounter? It doesn't tell me anything. So I don't find it that useful, to be honest. Yeah, the calculator doesn't factor magic items. That's my point, is that, let's say I'm trying to make a deadly encounter for something. Okay, cool. I've got a deadly encounter here, right? And now, let's say that I know that my players have magic items. They are experienced players, whatever. Then I add in, well, how much do I add in? I don't know, right? Like, because if I add 2 Treants, it's deadly. If I add 3 Treants, it's still deadly. If I add 4, it's still deadly. Like, it doesn't tell me anything more about how to level up this encounter, because now we've hit the cap of what it's able to tell us. It just can't tell us anything more. It doesn't tell us this is super deadly, this is ultra deadly. It just says deadly still. And I frankly don't know. The other thing, what I was saying earlier to people is that, like, it just can't be that numerical. There's too many factors, way too many factors, that determine what's going to happen in the combat. So my approach is, maybe I can use kobold.club as a starting point, maybe. But then I just go with my gut, and then I adjust during the game as needed. And that led to my question for the community was, when you guys prep combat, are you a purist about your rolls? Like, what happens on the dice is what happens on the dice. We don't change that. What happens in the stat block prior to the combat, that's the stat block. It never changes. Or are you like me, where you add HP during combat? You will up the damage. You will... I try not to change dice because I don't like randomness being that. But if something is going really, really bad, maybe I'll change a dice. Not that I don't want them to die. I mean, if they earned a death, they earned a death. But yeah, dice I will change less. But I will absolutely change stat blocks on the fly if I need to. So I'm curious whether you guys do as well or not. I don't know. Let's go back to just chatting, shall we? There we go. I like just chatting. Let's see who's... Can I see on this thing who's in my chat right now? Nope. Can't do that. No. I prefer TPKs. What does that even mean? You prefer TPKs? Yeah, I mean, I agree. If it's a fair roll, it's a fair roll. I've never had a TPK. So, I mean, if you've had a TPK, I'd love to hear about it. If you're going to fudge a roll, fudge it in the player's favor. Totally. Totally. Yeah, like, what? I agree. I think there are a few times where I fudged it in their favor because I didn't feel like that was the right time for someone to die, or because there was like cinematic momentum that I didn't want to disrupt. But it's very rare that I'll fudge a roll. Very rare. I've never had a TPK though. You TPK'd on your first session? You weirdly, you're not the first person that I've heard that from, actually. I've heard that from a number of people. And I wonder if it's because, again, before we've DM'd a lot, we've not yet developed that intuitive muscle for how a combat encounter is going to go compared to the strength of our players. So yeah, I've heard that as well. I fortunately did not TPK in my first session. But a friend of mine who we've seen in chat before, V Prasad, he has TPK'd his first session, and I was like, wow, dude. It's hardcore. Jesus. Kind of want to know a little bit more about your TPK. I want to share with the group. I'm always curious about that stuff. I somehow have only killed like one player ever. And I don't know if that's because I don't think that my encounters have been easy. I think people have really struggled. I think there have been almost TPKs, and I think a lot of people have gone unconscious in my encounters. Swarm of bats, friendly fire, enough said. I don't know what that means. We're going to look it up, though. I wish it was enough said, but I'm a noob, apparently. Never used a swarm of bats. How do you friendly fire with a swarm of bats? Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I'm curious to know what you mean by friendly fire. Although, if they're like new players, I imagine that they don't know about, spell radiuses and stuff. Look at the swarm mechanic. The swarm can occupy another creature's space. Oh. Yep. That makes sense. Yikes. Yeah, I guess even with low-level players, you try and hit that swarm of bats where it's on top of someone else. Boo. Try and drop an area of effect spell right there. Boo. Totes my goats, man. Totes. All right. So, we're trying to get to affiliate status. I don't have a follower count on the screen yet, but the goal is 50 followers, so even single targets. Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, if it's just on top of a creature and you try and hit the swarm of bats, makes sense that that creature would get a hit. Totally. Makes total sense. Stream looks pretty good right now. I was having trouble earlier in the evening. I was trying to do all that fancy shit again. 1080p. Didn't work. I should just know my place. Twitch wants me at 720. It wants me at a low bitrate. Like, okay, fine. Let's take a look at the stream. Looks good. Looks readable enough. Cool. So yeah, community workshop. What do we want to work on, guys? What ethnicity am I? It's a good question. You should guess. I love this question because people can't seem to figure me out, which is interesting. My hint for you is that I'm one ethnicity, not multiple. So I'm not some like hybrid mix that makes it difficult to tell what I am. Eastern Indian. That is so specific and also almost accurate. Almost accurate. I am Northern Indian-ish. Central North Indian. My family is from a town called Lucknow, which is about an hour's train ride or a day's train ride, because in India everything is measured through train length, or an hour plane ride from New Delhi. So right in the center, right there, is where I'm from. I was born there, and then I came here when I was 2 years old, and then when I was 16, my parents naturalized, and I naturalized as a result also. So I'm a U.S. citizen, but I was born in the motherland. But that was a pretty good guess, honestly. I always forget what's in East India. Is it Gujarat or Punjab? I don't remember. Honestly, I grew up pretty whitewashed. You can probably tell from the way I talk, the fact that I'm into D&D, that, the motherland didn't rub off on me too hard. Not that I don't appreciate it, but, Eastern Indian is the entire country. You say Eastern so you don't get the old white folk to not confuse Native Americans. Oh, I see. You meant Eastern as in the Eastern Hemisphere. Got it. That makes sense. Yes, I am Indian. And I agree. I think this is my personal perspective on it. I know we're not talking about D&D anymore, but my personal perspective on it is that Columbus was an idiot. And he came to a continent thinking he found a peoples. He didn't find those peoples. He called them Indians anyway. And then an entire, multitude of generations decided that we're just going to roll with this one guy's stupid assumption. And now it's, become a part of their identity. And that's totally fine. Whatever. It doesn't matter what you call someone. But, you should call them what they want to be called, of course. But, man, Columbus was a fucking idiot. Wow. Couldn't even verify that he hadn't come to India. You know what I mean? What an idiot. So let's see. I think that we should work on something D&D related. We haven't had any suggestions from the chat yet, unfortunately. But I think we should work on something. So what are we going to work on? I don't know. Let's take a look at my to-do list. I mean, I was hoping to work on something from the community, but because we haven't had any suggestions on that front, I think we should just go ahead and work on something. Whatever. Who cares what it is? All right. Oop, that's my Twitch dashboard. Don't look at that. Just kidding. I don't care. So this is the campaign that we worked on before. I think I do want to untether. I want to untether. Oh, wait. Let's see. You think you used up your turn last week with your item? No, you didn't, dude. Not at all. And the reason I say that is because, one, I mean, we didn't even really get to work on your item on the stream. I was so distracted with my guest that I didn't get to work on it, which makes me sad because I realized that's the more interesting thing to do, I think, is instead of working on my stuff that you guys don't even experience, let's work on your stuff. That'd be way more fun. And I'll get to understand a little bit more about how other people prep, which I got to learn just from, Twitch chatting with you earlier. So, no, you didn't use up your turn. No one else, here nominating a ton of things. So, if you got something, throw it up. Let's work on it. We'll take turns. I've gone 4 times in a row. So, you can go 4 times in a row. I don't care. I just want to, work with other DMs. I think that if it was just you and me, and I was, your DM buddy that you could just bounce ideas off of, I'm happy with that. I think that's totally cool. I mean, I would do that anyway with my other DM friends if I could. So that's totally cool with me. Like I said, I don't really have any expectations for a big audience or anything. And frankly, I think a big audience would make it difficult to work with anyway, creatively. So at least for now, I think having a couple of DMs in chat and just working on something together, that sounds super fun to me. Why would we not want to do that? You know? Sounds great. So what you got? Throw it up there. I don't know. What are you working on? Tell us a little bit about your campaign. Here's the one you crafted. Oh, yeah. I need to get to chat somehow on my computer. What's the fastest way to do that? Stream Manager? It's a little heavy. Yeah, I'll go to Stream Manager. Let me pick up your link. 1 sec. Oh, third viewer. Hello, sir. Or ma'am, whoever you are. Nice to see you. Feel free to lurk. We are doing community workshop tonight where I just want to see if anybody has anything they'd like to work on. It could be anything. A character you're working on, magic item, adventure hook, a narrative, a combat, whatever it is, throw it out there. We'd love to work on it with you. We'd love to sort of just give you our own ideas. You don't have to take any of them if you don't want to. But just talk about it. Just talk about what other DMs we're working on. I think it would be super fun. Oh, man. Fucking... Okay, here we go. See what I can do. Cool. Can you post that link one more time, Root of All Beers? I just pulled up the chat on my computer, but of course it doesn't load previous chats, so I don't have that link anymore. But I'm seeing it on my phone where I'm monitoring chat. I might have it in my... Oh, there we go. Thanks, man. The latency is pretty low. I think I said that, and you had the link in there pretty quickly. That's good. That's nice. Yes. Everybody, this is the magic item that Root of All Beers was talking about. Very cool. Wondering, be a new DM, how do you prep for modules? That's a good question. Let's go back into just chatting. How do you prep for modules? Good question. So my personal opinion, and I would love to know how you've been doing it. I'll also... Oh, it's Curse of Strahd. Curse of Strahd is a really cool campaign. I've never run it, so I would love to know your opinions on it. And I would also just love to know how you're prepping for the module. I can tell you what I did for Storm King's Thunder, which is I started by reading as much of the book as I thought was relevant. Obviously, I didn't read the whole thing because not all of it is. And I basically said, you know what, let me show you actually what I did. So this is the dashboard that I use, but the core way that I planned is I basically broke the adventure up into levels because I knew that I wanted it to extend all the way from 1 to 20. You should have taken a month to read the damn book. Yeah, maybe, but listen, you could come up with like a million things to do before you actually started DMing, and then you could come up with a million more. And I think that it's better to just start. And you'll figure out what you want to do better next time. That's fine. You know, maybe next time you will read the book. But truth is that reading the whole adventure book takes so long. So yeah, you should probably read the you know, get the basics in there. But you know what? This is actually not the first thing that I did. This is not the first thing I did. The first thing I did was I Googled tips for running Storm King's Thunder, and the Reddit communities that I'm a part of, which I recommend to everybody, were super helpful. You know, r/DND, r/DM Academy, etc. But anyway, there I found a really handy document. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. Sean McGovern's Storm King's Thunder Guide. This was incredibly helpful. And he had all kinds of fun stuff. How to prepare this adventure. He starts by doing a quick basic outline, which is an approach that I took as well. I copied it. This is useful to do for yourself instead of copy pasting it from somewhere else because it gives you a really good understanding of the broad strokes of the adventure. But this guide is great. It sort of tells you, here's some things that you should do before you begin your campaign. Here's the adventure outline. Here's NPCs that are important. It gives you like a really good summary of everything, but it also chapter by chapter gives you a summary of things. This part was less useful because I just ended up going back to the book. But so like advice number 1 would be go find a guide like this, because other people have already done some of the thinking for you, insofar as, you know, just breaking down the adventure into parts and doing some critical thinking on it. Then I made my own outline like this, and I applied my own modifiers to the story. In this case, the 2 modifiers that I wanted to make were, 1, I wanted to make it go from 1 to 20 instead of like 5 through 13, I think is what it goes to. So I just took each piece of that outline and I stretched it out to the point where I wanted it. I also added stuff in and I changed the adventure structure. So maybe a good way to approach it is to like sort of think about overall, like, what are your goals for the adventure, and are there any that are very different from the way that the adventure is run normally? So a big difference for Storm Kings that I made, a change that I made, was that in Storm King's Thunder, there are 6 giant types, and there are 6 like giant dukes, basically, or like, you know, they're not like kings yet, but they're basically kings. They're these like demi-bosses. And in Storm Kings, you only have to go kill one of them. And they have these super, super cool dungeons in Storm Kings for each one. And I guess the idea is that like you can replay it multiple times and go back, but like campaigns take forever. Who's going to replay one? So I decided that instead of going to only one, they're going to go to all 6. And that's what, that way they get to like maximize the super cool content in the book. And so you can see that in this outline, sorry, I made it really small, but you know, in this outline, they go to the hill giant thing, they go to the frost giant thing and the stone giant thing and blah, 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 blah. So I changed it accordingly, and my outline reflects that. And that means that anytime I want, I can very quickly go back to this outline and look at what I want. So even here, you know, I've got an outline of everything that I want to happen. You know, level 1 through 11, they go to all these different cities. Some stuff has to happen in those cities. I laid out an outline. And of course, it's never going to go to plan, but you can come in and adjust that outline. So the outline is super critical, super, super important. I would also understand the map really well. Understand sort of where things are. Oh, and then the other thing, big thing change that I made is that for me, maybe it's because I'm a critter, I don't know, but I really like player narratives. I really like having story arcs in the game that are completely focused on one character, because it gives that character and that player, that human being that's playing with you, a chance to shine. And it gives them a story that is just about them, that their party will support them in. So what I did is I took that outline, and then I was like, okay, where are some natural gaps, or where can I insert some gaps? And then basically, this is kind of a lot of work. So if you're not interested in this, don't do it. And if you're a new DM, maybe don't do it either. If you want to keep things straightforward. But I basically charted out a course. I do. Yeah. So if you look at these boys, I've got story for each one of these guys. And so each of these is a player narrative segment, and I will basically take these segments and interweave them into the story. And it's as simple as putting them in the outline. You know, the beginning of Kelp's story, stick it in the outline. The Temple of Sune, stick it in the outline. And you can, of course, adjust as you go, but hopefully you find a way to naturally flow between the main story and a player's narrative. And hopefully you do it in a way, interweaving, that you kind of bounce back and forth. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily the best approach after running this campaign. I think it's possible that focusing entirely on one thing at a time might be good. What I mean is that, sure, the main story is always going to be running for the book, but it might make sense to just have the entirety of one player's story take place and just finish it. And that way, like, players don't have to remember the details of multiple stories, right? They can kind of just focus on that one story. The only problem with doing that I didn't like is that, like, let's say you get to player A's story at level 5, and that's all you do for level 5 and 6 or something. It's like, cool, for the next, I don't know, year or two that your campaign runs, that player's never going to get their day in the sun again as far as the story goes. So I didn't love that. So my approach was to interweave everything like this, you know? Just interweave all of it. So yeah, I do. I have, this isn't even all of it. I think this has like 4 other parts to it that I just didn't write down because I had it in my head, like really firmly. I really loved this story. And I also, you know, bonus points for things like weaving the stories of 2 players together. So in my case, I had Kelp and Kegsbane here. They came up with their stories together because I asked them if they wanted to do that at the beginning of the campaign. And they were like, yeah, like I'm going to be, Kegsbane said, I'm going to be the older fighter and I'm going to take care of Kelp, who is a younger cleric. He's sort of going to be, I knew his father. He doesn't know that yet. But I'm going to sort of keep an eye on him. And that was really cool because I could then sort of separately have their stories going, all the while knowing that they were going to merge. And this story came to its culmination very recently, and it was so satisfying. It was so cool. The players really appreciated it. So bonus points if you can get them to sort of interweave together. Also bonus points if you can get them to relate back to the main story somehow, because then it sort of ties into the whole motivation for why they're adventuring in the first place. That's not always possible, given their backstory, but you're sticking it into the adventure outline, so you're able to easily see, using the outline, how 2 things relate to each other, and I find that makes it a little bit easier to see the opportunities where they exist to combine or connect somehow the 2 stories, or 3 stories, which is super cool. So yeah, that can be very fun, and I really, really like it. I think you're right. I think interweaving is better. I think avoiding the downside that I mentioned earlier is probably good. But, you know, you're always kind of struggling against the fact that DMs have the whole thing in their head. We're thinking about it all the time. And the truth is that players just aren't. They're not thinking about it unless they're at the table. And so if, you know, 1 week or 2 weeks goes by in between each session and you're interweaving storylines, that means that, like, the next time to touch that storyline is like 6 months from now. You know, it can be tough for them to remember what happened. And that's a challenge. It's one I haven't really figured out yet, to be honest. I suppose you could do something where, like, you keep trying to remind them of what that story is doing in the background, but it was like a distraction, you know? I don't know. But yeah. It's exciting that you're prepping Curse of Strahd. That's really cool. Why did you pick Curse of Strahd? I'm curious. I think it's such a cool adventure. And I've played it, but I haven't DM'd it myself. You know what? Actually, we're at 8 o'clock, so save that for a second. Save that answer for a second. I'm going to take a quick break. 5-10 minutes max. It popped out. What does that mean? What popped out? Curse of Strahd popped out? To you? Think it was interesting? Yeah. Yeah, it's a unique one. It's really, really cool. I would love to run it someday. I think, like, the darkness of it is interesting because home campaigns, unlike something like Critical Role, are pretty funny. Like, they're pretty humorous. Like, there are dramatic moments for sure, but it's harder to make something really dark. So I think that's a unique challenge with Curse of Strahd because it is about darkness. It's about this, like, eldritch, Lovecraftian horror, or really traditional horror, like Bram Stokery stuff. And I think there's always a place for humor in that kind of story. But you also have to be able to feel those moments, you know? Cool. Awesome. So we're going to take a break, save that question, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Thanks for sticking around, buddy. I've had a great time with you so far, and we'll talk a little bit more after this. What is up? I'm back. I hope everybody had a good break. Let's get rehooked up here and get ready for round 2 of our community workshop. Probably. Damn, you were on that with that question. I like it. Man, I appreciate how engaged you are in the stream. I really do. I'm so excited that you are a new DM and that you're hopping into Curse of Strahd. It's just a very exciting thing. I remember when I was new, and the possibilities are endless, and it's super, super cool. So thank you for being here. Let's pull up the stream monitor. How do I do this? Dashboard. Right. Cool. So, you were asking. Oh, and I'm super excited for someone from our Discord to come in here. Let me post that Discord link again. Revolpiers, you might be interested in joining our Discord. It's only got a couple people in there right now, but we talk about stuff in there. It's cool. So do you listen to other D&D streams or podcasts? Well, actually, before I answer your question, let me just recap for everybody now that we're coming back from break. This is our experimental community stream, community workshop, where we invite people from chat, aka you guys, to throw, things that you want some feedback on into chat, and we're going to pick it up and work on it because it's really fun to be creative together, and you don't have to take any of our ideas if you don't want to, but if there's something that you want feedback on, something that you want to just maybe tweak a little bit, something that you're having trouble with creatively, something you want to push forward or evolve as a concept, magic items, spells, homebrew classes, encounters, narrative for players, campaign structure, literally anything. If you're a player, things that you've been thinking about from a player standpoint, what kind of character should I play in this campaign, what kind of class choices should I make, what race should I play, etc. We can do that as well. I just want to be creative with people. I know that people in Discord know this. I know that my existing viewers know this, but this is meant to be a place where we can just get together and be creative together. We can practice the discipline of being creative with other people. We can learn from each other. And as DMs or players, we can just hang out and talk about D&D, the behind-the-screen aspect of things. So, do you listen to other D&D streams or podcasts so you can try to incorporate part of their playstyle to your own? Yes. The two that were very foundational for me were, and the two that actually made me want to go be a DM were Critical Role, which is common for a lot of people, and Acquisitions Incorporated. I know that there are some other really popular ones, Adventure Zone, Maze Arcana, things like that. But for me, it was Critical Role and Acquisitions Inc. So Acquisitions Inc. was great because it, sort of set the stage for live D&D and sort of what you could do. But I also like that the two are very different. So Critical Role is very dramatic. Those guys are actors, and I don't ever want acting necessarily like that level at my table because it sets a really difficult expectation. I don't want anyone to look at me and be like, oh, you got to be like Matthew Mercer because he's a professional. And now he's a professional D&D player as well, or a D&D master, dungeon master. I can say words. It did set a really high standard. I agree. I don't knock it for that because I think it's really good entertainment, and I really enjoyed the show, and I think they're doing something very special. But I think that it is dangerous when players don't understand that is a professional show. I have seen the reports of people being like, oh, like, why isn't my DM more like blah, blah, blah? Why aren't my fellow players more like blah, blah, blah? And the truth is that that's not what Critical Role does, and what home D&D games are just two different games. They're apples and oranges. They shouldn't be compared. Not another D&D podcast. I've heard of that as well. Is that one? Is that NADPOD? Is that what that is? Someone else told me about NADPOD recently. Yeah. I might have to check this one out. You're not the first person to tell me about that. Cool. That's good to know. Tell me what NADPOD is about. I don't really know anything about it, to be honest. Anyway, what I was saying while you answer that question is that, yeah, like Critical Role is dramatic. It's very cool. Critical Role teaches me a lot about sort of how to do drama right. Of course, within the limitations of what home D&D players will do and home viewers. But also, Acquisitions Incorporated was a great influence because it showed you the opposite. It showed you how funny D&D could be, how goofy D&D could be, how sort of like kitschy and campy D&D can be. And the two very different games, and I find them both really useful as reference points because I think home D&D probably lands somewhere in the middle. You know, no one's quite as funny as the Acq Inc. guys. No one's quite as dramatic as the Critical Role people. We're all just normal folks trying to have a good time in a room. Feels closer to home. That makes sense. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know a lot about it, but I've heard good things. So, if you're in chat, I'd love to do something with the last 40 minutes of this stream where we work on something together. If you got something in mind, anything that you've been working on recently or something, maybe even something, think about this. If there's something you've been putting off because it sounds difficult to work on, or I do this a lot, if I don't have an idea for something, if I don't know how to tackle it yet, I'll put it off and it'll go like lower on my to-do list. Then think about what that is, and let's talk about that, because that can be really fun as well. You'll be surprised how much of a kickstart you're going to get and how good it's going to feel to have that kickstart for whatever it is that you haven't tackled yet. I find that working with other people is the single best way to get past a roadblock, creatively speaking, which is great. Very good adventuring team. VGAT is super funny. They get a little off color, but the humor is pretty top shelf, as is the production quality. Dope. I'm adding it to my list as well. The VGAT.com. Nice. Very good adventuring team. That's cool. I like that. I think there is a lot to still be done with live D&D, or not live D&D, but, you know, D&D shows. I haven't done anything yet because I know how much of a fucking effort it is to put on a D&D podcast or a D&D show. And I think that unless I had something that was very unique, like a new angle on it, I wouldn't want to even try, to be honest. D&D is enough work as it is, as we know. I was thinking of crafting a homebrew database for DMs and players alike. That's interesting. Tell me more about what your homebrew database would be like. I think I want to know more before we pick it up and thrust it into the, you know, ether. Son of a Sofa Man. Hey, man. Also, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you can make it for our prototype community workshop. It's great to see someone from Discord in here. I know that you found us on DM Academy, and we talked a little bit about the ethos of the stream, so won't recap it, but no worries at all. No worries at all. I'm assuming that you're Central Time or Mountain Time, perhaps, if you're 1 hour behind. But yeah, no worries. And I'm just glad that you're here and that you're here on the stream. So I love to chat about weapons and armor that grow with the player. Instead of replacing gear as you level, why not have the magic items scale with the character? That's a good idea. Just a solid idea in general. Unnamed weapon becomes very personal, and I'd want to keep it over the course of my adventuring career. I think it's a fucking great idea. I've tried to do things like that in campaigns before. I did give a player a weapon that was designed to evolve with them, and I didn't get to really see that to realization because the player left. He moved away to Chicago, and so we didn't get to do that, but let's talk about it for you. What do you have a particular, you know, do you have like a particular context in mind for this magic item? Like to help players and DMs inspiration, create characters and story plots alike. There's already a homebrew item database. No need to create that one. Yeah, I agree, Rudolph Beers. I think there's something like that is required. I think that like D&D's resources are really spread out over the internet, and because there isn't really a good central place for them, D&D Beyond is probably the closest we can get. There definitely is like there's just a lot of stuff out there, and it's hard to collate all of those resources. So I agree. Some kind of a database would be really cool. The Hexblade Warlock has a shadowy sword. Maybe it steals souls, which can be spent on new abilities. That'd be dope. That'd be super cool. I can tell you what I did. I can probably pull it up here. I don't even think it's in D&D Beyond. It's in the home brewery still. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's transition real quick. I think I have it here. God damn it. Here we go. There it is. Crossbow of the Bolt. We had it's this guy right here. We had a player who was kind of like a superhero, and he basically had a crossbow that had a electrical charge mechanism in it. So the idea was that he goes and does something, like puts it in running water, hand cranks it, whatever, and that spins up its special ability, which is it shoots out lightning damage alongside its crossbow bolt. And the idea was that this is Crossbow of the Bolt first arc, the implication being that every 5 levels he gets the second arc and the third arc and the fourth arc, and the item just gets upgraded, and that's part of his like Batman superhero journey or whatever. But anyway, I just thought I'd show you that. I like the Hexblade Warlock idea. It's cool. Steals souls, which can be spent on new abilities. Arcs are like levels. Yeah, it's like first arc, second arc, third arc. There's just like a cool name for them or whatever. Ooh, what'd you link to? I'm gonna go check that out. Experience tracker? What's that for? I don't know what this is for, man. But looks cool, I suppose. Oh, you crafted a... Oh, I missed that. Semi-automated experience tracker for DMs that like to use the EXP system. Okay, cool. That's cool. Sorry. So, let's talk... Let's all focus on the idea of magic items that level up with you. I think that's a cool thing to spend a little bit of our time on. So... Yeah, first question is, do you have context for that? Like, do you have an item that you're trying to create currently for your campaign? Or do you feel like this is just an idea you want to explore generally? You let me know. And by the way, so I like to focus on one thing at a time because I find that splitting creative energies between 2 or 3 or 4 things makes it really difficult for the mind to really focus on it. And for people to coalesce around it. You want to get into that sense of flow back and forth where sort of all you're thinking about is that thing, and that's where your mind really starts to work, and people start to really go back and forth and have ideas. So let's focus on this for a little while, and then we can switch to something else in maybe 10, 15 minutes. Not even a half-baked idea. Dude, that's cool. I don't care. I think it's a cool idea in general. And one of the coolest things about again, working on ideas together is that we can take that half-baked idea and we could turn it into something that maybe all of us will use in our campaigns, or at least have ideas on how to use in our campaigns. Like I said, I had that version of the thing that I never get to really actually use, and I would love to use something like that. I think also, steal souls can be spent on new abilities. It's cool. What other, to get a little bit more methodical about this, what other things can a magic item do as it levels up. I mean, you know, thoughts. Damage obviously is like the obvious one, you know, like it can just level up in damage. You can level up in, there are level up items. Actually, my DM gave me a rapier that levels along with the ATM. Oh, that's awesome. You should totally share that if you can, and if your DM's okay with it. I'd love to look at it. Yeah, I'd anticipate that most DMs have played around with this idea at some point, and everyone has different versions of it. What if we made one? You guys want to make one? Let's make one. That'd be fun. Like I said, I'm cool with just hanging out with you guys and working on something together and having that, like, let's be creative. So let's fucking do it. Let's actually do the thing that we said we were going to do. I'm going to open up Notion here. And I'm going to switch over to primary view. There we go. I also realized that I don't have chat on here. Let me see if I can get chat on here. You know what? Actually, I can just get chat a different way. It's fine. There we go. All right. I want to make a new general D&D note. By the way, I know I've talked about this before, but this is my general D&D prep tool. I love it very much. It's called Notion, and it's just a great wiki for anything. I use it for my whole life, but I find it especially useful for Dungeons & Dragons. You can basically have notes, text blocks that can be manipulated with various kinds of formatting. You can have various kinds of blocks, text, to-do list, headings, etc. You can move blocks around and reorder them. You can have links, and most importantly, you can have pages and tables. So I've got all of my ideas and inspiration here. But let's make another page here. And we're going to call it magic items, self-leveling, magic items. Tight. What's a magic item in a crystal ball? Yeah. Love putting these fucking emoji. It's called Notion. I'll put it in chat here. But it is my favorite tool. I love it so much. I literally plan my whole life in it. I know I keep saying we're going to work on this, but I'm really excited about this tool. And I know that Son of a Sofa Man hasn't seen this before on my previous streams, but I just wanted to show you, this is how I D&D prep. This is how I use the tool. So I've got to-dos. I've got a table of contents with my adventure outline. I've got session guides. And each one of these session guides has to-dos. Hey, Guru, thanks for the follow, man. We are one more closer to our goal of 50 to get this channel to affiliate, to get this community to affiliate. So thank you. I appreciate that. So, like, I love this tool because I can basically put everything I want for a session into this database, and it just goes into my session guides overall, which is really cool. I have a table for magic items. I have, you know, a note for my world map. I have all kinds of stuff in here. I have a page for each of my players and their backstories. You can see that it's just a deep wiki, and it's awesome. Notion is the coolest thing ever. I love it. Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. Okay. What do we put in chat? Let's see here. How about over time the weapon learns to return to the wielder's hand if it gets lost, still, and dropped? I like it. Ways. Let's start with, like, we're just going to write down, like, ways an item can level up. So maybe this part of our opening brainstorm, what I like to do always is, like, have a blue sky brainstorm. So you start a creative process with, like, a really wide funnel. You start with the most ideas possible for two reasons. One is because you want to not have any, like, the notion of a bad idea doesn't exist right now. We're in blue sky. And the idea of that is that if nothing is a bad idea, everything can be said. And if everything can be said, that means that you have no idea what is going to hit your ear and make you think of an even better idea and a better idea. And it's all about momentum, and it's all about let's keep going and let's keep coming up with more ideas. And then you basically have to consciously think, I'm going to put off all of my criticism and all of my realistic thinking. All of my practical thinking is going to come later. Because after your blue sky brainstorm, you'll have a refinement step. And that refinement step is where you bring back that critical thinking and you say, okay, here's why it won't work. Here are the practical limitations of it. So for now, let's just go totally blue sky. Let's just throw as many ideas out as we can think of. That's the idea. It's like, if you think of like, what about this? What about this? We're just going to write all of it down. All right. So I'm going to start writing shit down. So weapon can, what you said, Son of the Sofa Man, weapon can restore a spent spell slot per long rest. Tight. By spending a soul. Oh, and this is like riffing off of the idea you had earlier, which I'm going to scroll up to. So this is the Hexblade. Steals souls. I'm going to put this as a separate idea because it's a little more formed already. Hexblade. Soul stealing Hexblade. And I'm also going to duplicate it here and say restore spell slots. Very cool. Rudeval Beer said his item is supposed to get stronger when he gets stronger, or I do a great deed of heroism. I think we should just write down reasons an item can level up, which is great. Also, one of them is what you said, which is that you get stronger, so I'm assuming that means leveling up. Player levels up. What else did you say? You say, oh, player does a great deed of heroism, or alternatively, player does a great deed of evil, or redemption, or whatever. You know what? We're just gonna put that all in one thing, or evil, or redemption, or saves someone else's life or something. Obviously, that's just going to be dependent on your theme. So I'm going to keep working through these ideas. So many already, and there's just fucking 3 of us. Also, it was sentient, so maybe we'll put that as like modifiers or like unique characteristics. You know what? I'm just going to put that as sentient. Because like on its own, an item could level up, has nothing to do with the player, and because the item itself is on its own journey, you know? Weapon learns to return to its wielder's hand. Holy shit, you guys are sending me notes faster than I can fucking write them down. This is exciting. So, yes. Returns weapon that returns to wielder's hand. Does a little Thor Mjolnir action. I can spell wielder. If it is lost, dropped, stolen. That's cool. I like that. It's tight. I'm gonna keep going. Dude, I think I might have to DL this. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Get Notion. It's the best. Notion, you should pay me for sponsoring you guys. It's awesome. Yeah, get Notion. It's the best. Just do it. Don't even think about it. We'll talk about map builders later. Don't forget about that. Taking notes about this process, what I'm really here for. Fuck yeah, dude. Do it. Take notes. Short rest, long rest, you fully recover spell slots. Or the collection requirement. Tell me more. Tell me more about that. I don't understand it yet. Tell me more about it. Like Mjolnir. Yeah, that's super cool. I'm also thinking like what other Nadpod has a great two-handed great sword that creates a two-handed great sword with the ability of sending. That's cool. I mean, overall, like, right, like that's just a cool thing you can add to an item, is like give it the effect of a spell with charges or at will if it's a cantrip or a low spell. That's cool. I can think of, I mean, it makes me think of an item where like it's like the Sword of Sending, perhaps, and the idea is that it's a sword that talks and it has a mouth, or it's a sword that has an ear on it, a magical ear, and it's got a twin maybe, or it doesn't have a twin, it's just by itself, and like you just talk into it basically and it can send a message to someone. I don't know why you would want that, but it sounds cool. Why not? It'd be fun to actually like go through all the list of cantrips and look at like what would be a cool way to level up a magic item as well. I mean, I guess you already have sending stones or whatever, but you know, fuck it. This is like a level up for an item, right? What else can we do? So we've sort of like created buckets. This is also a thing that's useful for being creative, is that like you just create buckets that frame your thinking. And if you need a new bucket, you just make a new bucket. But this way you can go look at the whiteboard, which we have up here, and you can say, oh, here are some buckets that I can use to shape my thinking. So if you're like out of ideas, go look at that bucket and be like, what else is like this, you know? The Hexblade recovers spell slots by spending souls during short rest, because you recover all spell slots during long rest. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, sure. I think he even meant that the Hexblade can recover spell slots like as an action, right? Like that's what you meant, Son of Sophaman, is that like if I've got, let's say I oh, sorry, I didn't read the idea fully. I just wrote it down because I was so excited. Sorry, I'm like looking back at chat. How do I? There we go. Oh, that's funny. That's true. You're right, Root of All Beers. I get what you're saying now. You get all your spell slots back during a long rest. So you're saying spend souls during a short rest to get spell slots back. That probably makes more sense. If you're cool with that, Son of a Sophaman. I even think, just to plus that up, or as an action, by spending a soul. So I'll just rewrite this real quick to use a stored soul to restore a spent spell slot per short rest, or as an action with some number of charges. So like it could be during a short rest, like Root of All Beers is saying. It could also be an action that you can use 3 times before dawn. So even if I have 15 spell slots or souls stored in my Hexblade, I can only recover 3 slots before I have to wait till the next day. But the spells, the souls themselves don't expire. Makes sense. Yeah, dude, totally. Don't even worry about it. You don't have to say that at all. Like, I think during a blue sky brainstorm, every contribution is valuable, but every contribution is also, like worth nothing. Because I don't mean that like our ideas are worth nothing. I say that because during a blue sky brainstorm, you should feel free to just throw out whatever you want, like anything that comes to your mind, and we will capture it. Because the idea is to come up with as many ideas as you can, and for the ideas that you come up with to bounce into the brains of the people that you're with, and for them to come up with more ideas. And basically, you're just trying to, if you think of the creative process as a funnel, you want to come out with as many good ideas at the bottom of that funnel as you can. And naturally, the way a funnel works is the more you pour into the top, or the wider your funnel is at the top, the more you have to work with when you're refining things down to the ideas that we end up with. So totally cool. Like, throw out whatever ideas, even if they sound super dumb. You never know what's going to come back into someone's brain. And, like I talk about creativity, those 2 disparate ideas coming together to form something cool. You have no idea whether that stupid idea you threw out there is going to result in something awesome that someone else says that all comes together in the end to form like that final thing, that's like the coolest thing in the world. Like when you start a creative process and you start with that really wide funnel and you like are talking about really, really, really dumb things, and then you like a month later, or a day later, or a couple hours later, even, you have that like refined idea. You're like, you look back and you're like, where did we even fucking start from? That's crazy that we were talking about jelly donut weapons and we ended up with this super cool whatever, right? Like that. Just looking at that process is, anyway, sorry, I'm like a dork about this stuff, but instead of refining an idea that has already been recorded, come up with more ideas. Yes, that's exactly the idea. In this blue sky, and we can even split it up in time, like, let's say that right now, let's just spend the next 5 minutes coming up with more ideas. Or 10. Really, you just come up with, you're in blue sky mode as long as you need to be, right? And you basically just keep pumping ideas onto the whiteboard until you feel like, okay, we're tapped. Now it feels like the next step is we're ready for the next step. Sometimes it would just be like, I just fill up the whole whiteboard, me and whoever I was with. Sometimes it would be some other criteria, but whatever, right? Like you go until you're tapped. So yeah, because if you try and refine one thing and it doesn't work, you got to go back to the start of the drawing board. And there's a price to context switching, right? It's hard to go from everything is cool, blue sky brainstorm, everybody be energetic, everybody be like, just give me your ideas as they come to you, and flip from that to let's refine, let's be critical, let's be logical, right? Like that. Those are two completely different modes for your brain, especially creative wise. So it's good to like stay in that blue sky as long as you can, capture as much of that potential as you can, and then move into the filtration phase. Now you want a jelly donut. Sorry. Great Ancestral War Axe. Two-handed axe. Collect souls. Every 50 souls captured, increase summon ancestral spirit by... Holy shit, I'm having trouble processing this sentence. Captured increases summon ancestral spirit by 1 recovered spirit spell slots every long rest, max 20 spirit slots. Holy shit, dude, you gotta rewrite that. I don't even understand what I'm reading. I'm gonna take a guess though. I think you're saying that every 50 souls captured increases the number of spell slots you regain. No, I don't understand. You said every long rest, but you also pointed out earlier that you gain all your spell slots back every long rest. I want to know what this idea is. You got to rewrite it for me. Sorry, I'm an idiot and I can't parse things properly. But I want to know what this idea is because it sounds super cool. What else? What else we got? Throw more ideas out there. What do we got? I'm just going to look at my whiteboard because for me, looking at the whiteboard is the most helpful thing outside of hearing things from other people. Reasons item can level up. Player levels up. Oh, we got some more info here. Cool. Souls increases the chance a spirit is summoned. Another talent, the weapon gains. You summon a dead ghost for battle. Oh. Cool. I missed that totally. So, this is not a real spell, is it? I'm just an idiot. I don't know why I'm searching this. I already know it's not. Oh, it is a thing. This is what you meant? Summon whatever spirit? I'm going to assume this is not what you exactly meant, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So every 50 souls, you summon an ancestral spirit. That's fucking awesome. I'm just going to write that down by itself. Every 50... So this is cool. This is like a whole nother way that an item can level up, which is just like the item itself gains a quantity. That's cool. Examples are like what you said. 50 souls captured. Souls captured through killing, for example. Murder. And then I think the second part of that was like... is able to summon an ancestral spirit to assist during combat. That's super cool. I have an idea about that already, which is like, what if you, forgive me if this was already your idea and I just didn't understand it, but, what if it was like every 50 souls that you got you got one. Well, 50 is a lot, so maybe more like maybe it's like every put pet, sure, whatever, or pet or familiar. That's cool. Even like the idea of kind of allowing both the charges to be driven by the souls as well as the actual ability level or the strength of the summoned thing. So, maybe every 5 souls you capture gives you a charge to summon this guardian, and then every 50 souls you level that guardian up. So like this one could be, we're kind of focusing on one thing here, so I'm gonna also put it here. Stolen souls can be used to summon a guardian or familiar that can assist you. Stolen souls can be banked to improve the ability of summoned guardian, which is cool. Souls increase the chance a spirit is summoned. That's cool. So like another one is more souls increase the likelihood that a spirit is summoned at some given event. Could be like take a long rest, or enter combat for the first time, or take a special action to summon one. So like you can just keep trying to summon one and your likelihood just goes up as you have more souls stored in it. Another talent the weapon gains after a certain level, it can transfer life energy from the victim to a wielder. That's cool. I like that. We'll write that down. Transfer life energy from target or victim to wielder. Now we're getting some Onimusha. What's Onimusha? I don't even know what that is. I'm gonna look it up because I don't know anything about anything. Onimusha. What the hell is this? Ooh, historical figures that shape Japan's history. I'm gonna look into that later. Tell me more about Onimusha, or what I need to know about Onimusha, so I don't have to look it up. If the weapon isn't fed frequently, it starts to turn on its owner, or starts to control them and force them to feed it. Yeah, I like that. It's really like evolving magic items, Because it may not be a positive evolution like you're saying. I mean, one thing about sentience is that the weapon is a hungry entity. If it isn't fed souls, it starts to turn on its owner. All right. We are clearly focusing on this item, so I'm going to put this down as an option for this guy as well. Generally speaking, I think this one is like sentience. Could be bad or good. If it fed souls, it starts to turn on its owner. What else? Or it starts to control them. Yeah. If it really isn't fed, if it gets fed up, if it really doesn't get fed, it tries to control them and force them to feed it souls. That is a sick fucking item. What a cool curse that would be. Give me souls. It'd be so cool if you could just hear that voice in your head as a player every time that happened. It'd be awesome. I'm just going to put that down here. whispers in the ear of the player, like literally whispers. Like the DM walks over and just feed me. That'd be awesome. It's so creepy. Thank you for appreciating my pun. It only took 10 seconds of staring at the camera. I believe they are the highest form of humor. You can quote me on that. He fights demons and collects their souls and feeds their souls into elemental weapons to make them more powerful. Damn, that's fucking cool. Yeah, man. That's dope. I mean, I'm just going to steal that idea right there. Feeds their souls into elemental weapons. Yeah, that's fucking awesome. Like, elemental weapons is cool too. Ooh, elemental weapons is awesome because it kind of opens up another avenue for this weapon to grow, which is different elemental pathways or even different damage types. So like elemental or like different pathways for growth based on player choice. So things that I'm thinking are like, you know, investing souls in a talent tree of sorts. Like, you know, just like characters in RPGs have talent trees, like this weapon itself could have a talent tree, and that creates all this cool choice for the player to invest in based on their preferences. So things they could invest in, like example trees, include elemental types, fire, water, wind, etc. Damage types, slashing, piercing, etc. Which that could be cool too, because that, like, all of these could affect the form of the weapon itself. In other words, let's say that you ended up like moving towards a piercing weapon or something. Like, it gets sharper and sharper and it gets more pointy or whatever, you know? To reflect that damage type. And basically, like, souls are how you actually get into that talent tree or further into that talent tree by just telling the item, I want to put 50 souls into fire right now. I don't know, it could be cool. Yeah, it's fucking cool. Man, I kind of want to keep going. Like, I know I usually stop at 9, but this is super fun, and I'm having a good time, so I might keep going for a little bit. Oh, I don't think, like, this is going to work over Twitch, but I'm going to skip through a little bit. 8 minutes? That's not a trailer. That's a fucking... Holy shit. Sorry. It's probably super loud. Give me a time code. Give me a time code. I'll watch this, but give me a time code to look at. You give me a time code, we can watch it together. For that time code. What else? What else? What else? So we're on this Dull Ceiling Hexblade. In general, we have talent trees. I want to, like, write it again. Ways in which an item can level up. For, like, effects or improvements. Item improvements. For leveling. I'm going to copy this. Nope, sorry, it's this right here. I'm actually just going to move it. I love this part about Notion, that you can just move blocks around. It's the best. Talent trees. Branching paths based on player choice. This is a very cool way to go. 4:30 in the trailer. Okay. Whoa, what happened to him? Fucking became a dark elf or some shit. Yeah. Dramatic, blah blah blah. Oh, I missed a moment. Oh, he killed him. Yeah, that's cool. I like the damage types. It could gain new damage types, allowing the character to choose. It was cool when it did slashing damage. Now also necromantic. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Committing. You don't have to commit to a talent tree. You could change where you put points or souls. That's cool. It also makes me think of the choices you can make in RPGs with talent trees, where maybe there's a way to actually reset the talents. So there's two ways to do it. You can either split the difference and you can say, I want to invest in slashing damage for this amount of time or for this many points. And then you say, well, I also want some of this other thing. I don't need to fully invest in slashing damage or down this particular tree, but I can, at any point, flip over and start investing points into the other talent tree. And now I have both. But I could also say, I'm actually not interested in slashing anymore at all. My needs have changed. Maybe it's because it's a different campaign, it's a different arc, different enemies are in front of me or whatever. I'm going into hell. Now I need something that's like anti-fiend. And now you can hit that reset and reinvest the points immediately, which would be super fucking cool. I mean, I can just imagine the narrative moments right now where like there is that ritual that you're talking about, like perform some ritual to reset the tree. There should definitely be a cost. I totally agree with you. But that narrative ritual of like, whatever, like that like Onimusha did, right? Like there's this like fucking awesome moment that happens where all of a sudden you go from this fire wielding character to this necrotic wielding character. And there's a totally different look for your character that's completely based on the talent tree choices you made here, which is super fucking cool. I love it. Fucking awesome. So some kind of like reset ritual if desired. Yeah, some kind of cost. I mean, it's interesting because we have both described this like idea of a quantity as being a currency that you like accumulate more of and spend. And now we've also introduced this other concept that is like talent points. And talent points are interesting because you gain them when you level up, typically. And when you spend them, it's like a permanent, durable upgrade. In game design, we always talk about durable things versus consumable things. Consumable things are like currency. They are like potions. They go away after you use them. And then durable things are things that stick around. So they're permanent upgrades to you. And so the talent tree is like a durable upgrade that can be repositioned, which is really cool. So maybe, I don't know if there's like a way to link the two. I haven't thought about that yet, but there could be a way to link them. They actually don't have to be the same thing. So you can have talent points. I don't know what you would call them. In the case of the Hexblade Warlock, maybe spirit shards, whatever. And then it's just basically like a soul cost to hit that reset, or, like we can put that reset ritual if desired, costs some kind of consumable currency. I mean, gold is a consumable currency. Souls, etc, whatever, something you gain. And that just goes away, But then you now have your entire pool of talent points to reuse, which is cool. How about a durability magic item that if you don't care of the item, it breaks? That's cool. I like that. That's just awesome. It reminds me of Breath of the Wild, Zelda, which I was playing that Zelda soundtrack. I'm going to resume it. The stronger you get, the faster it breaks. That's cool. I like that. I don't know where to put that, but I'm just going to put it in a different section entirely. Other cool shit. Always good to have another cool shit bucket. Magic item with durability. So if you don't take care of it, it breaks. Or as you said, you know, the stronger you get, the faster it breaks. It's almost like it would be cool if the more damage you did with it. Well, I guess this kind of does tie it back to leveling up, but as it levels up, it does more damage. The more damage it does in a turn, the more likely it is to break. I mean, it could be pretty cool if like every 5 points of damage that it did in a single turn, you had to, what's the right way to mathematically structure this? I'm thinking of something that's like every time you hit with it, you have to roll a d20 to see if it breaks. If you're only doing base damage, you know, it's like it's the item hasn't been leveled yet. It's at first level. And you just roll a d20. And if you roll a 1, it breaks, which gives you like a 1 in 20 chance of it breaking. And of course, there should be a way to repair it, I think, as well. It could be cool. Repairing it is either impossible or costly or difficult. Like an NPC. Only a certain NPC can repair it. I like that too because it's like a limitation or a cost on a leveling item. So I'm actually going to like take this. I think that fits more than I thought it would initially. I'll just leave that other cool shit bucket there. Has durability. I'm just going to put that as... I think that's a whole nother bucket that you've just uncovered, man. Which is costs and downsides. Trade-offs. Right? Because having a magic item in general that levels up is really fucking cool. It makes sense that there'd be some kind of trade-off for it. I think sentience is also a trade-off. Negative sentience. Or mal-aligned sentience. Cursed items, etc. Yeah, it makes sense. If you don't take care of it, it breaks. And by the way, I want to say real quick that like I love working on a whiteboard, but I haven't quite gotten like I haven't figured out how to set that up yet. I would love to be able to like have a camera pointed at my wall with a whiteboard and like a really clear view of the whiteboard on Twitch, and we just like bash it out on the whiteboard. That would be my dream. That would be so cool. I think I could probably find a way to set that up. Or at least like have like a tablet and then like, you know, like in a drawing app, have that streaming to Twitch. That's probably more realistic. Maybe I'll get an Apple Pencil. I don't know. But this is super cool. Repairing requires a very difficult quest. Rare components must be gathered. Fuck yeah. Difficult quest with rare components for sure. Every 5 damage you deal in one turn, you could spend 1 durability point. Once durability hits 0, it breaks. Yeah, that's a linear thing. That's cool. So it could be that could be chance based, e.g. like roll a dice and if you hit a 1 it breaks. Chance can be modulated based on strength of weapon or other factors like I was talking about, or it's what you said where it's linear. So every X uses or X points of damage, it breaks. It just straight up breaks. Or a combination of the two, every X uses or points of damage, it deals, its chance of breaking goes up, which is great. Or linear usage. Or maybe the magic weapon just needs to rest to recover its damage. Keep fighting with a fatigued weapon. It's more likely to break. That's fucking awesome too. Fuck yeah. Fatigue. The more you... Oh, that's X uses, basically. That's the same thing. That's cool. I like that flavor, though. Flavor. Your weapon gets fatigued. Could work really well with a sentient weapon, in my opinion. Super fucking cool. What do you think about that? Yep, that's cool. Why not get a touchscreen monitor? Oh, I didn't think about that. That could be cool. I mean, I could just get like a literal Cintiq tablet, you know, like one of those art tablets that people use. I mean, all the artists that I worked with at my game studios used to use these awesome Cintiq tablets, and you could literally just put that on Twitch. That's a good idea. I'm actually gonna write that down. Oop, that's not what I wanted. I'm gonna open up a new window here for things to try on my Twitch stream. I'm sorry, on our Twitch stream. One of them is going to be find a way to whiteboard more naturally on screen. Perhaps an iPad plus pencil, or a camera pointed at a whiteboard, or a drawing tablet like a Cintiq or a Bamboo tab or some kind of Wacom tablet. God, if I could get my hands on a Cintiq, that'd be awesome. I don't know if you guys know what a Cintiq is. I'll show you. I know I'm getting off topic. I know, I'm so sorry. But this is so cool. I love Cintiqs. I love talking about tools and shit. If you guys have never seen a Cintiq, a Wacom Cintiq. I spelled it wrong. Look at these things. These are beautiful. Look at that shit. It's a screen that is a drawing tablet, and I could literally have the whiteboard right there and be sharing that display, which would be awesome. Super cool, right? Anyway, sorry. Distracted. I wouldn't rent one or borrow. That way you can try it out. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I have artist friends that have Cintiqs. I know that some of them were selling old ones. I could actually go back to my old job at Disney and ask if they have any that they want to sell me. Probably not, but we'll see. How fun would it be to deal the killing blow against the boss, and in the same strike, the weapon breaks? Oh, that's totally true. That would be an awesome moment. I don't know if you guys have played Breath of the Wild, but in Zelda Breath of the Wild, your weapon has durability and it can break. And when it does its final breaking strike, such a great idea, it does extra damage and it explodes with this awesome... Let's see if I can find a video of it. I'm getting distracted again, but I can't help it. Breath of the Wild weapon break kill. Let's see. How do we show this? People don't like that in Breath of the Wild. That's funny. Let me see if I can find footage of this. All right, so Link is going and boom. See that? It's this fucking awesome explosion that happens. And it does extra damage. Oh, this guy likes it. That's good. And come on, break it. Break it. Break it, you motherfucker. And kill the... Oh my god. This guy. Right? Alright, whatever. He stopped breaking. Anyway, you get the idea. I like the idea of having to make the choice to continue to use the weapon knowing it might break, or putting your super awesome weapon aside and fighting with a lesser weapon to ensure your cherished weapon is saved. Yeah, that's a great trade-off for sure. Cause, or sort of like forces player to sometimes choose between their favored weapon or a different one to preserve its durability. And that's such a great trade-off to have to make too, because you have to really weigh, is this the moment? Is this the moment that I choose to make that choice and to break my weapon? Is this the boss? Is this worth it? Or is this like, that's not really worth it right now. Let me bring out my regular blade. I know I'm not going to do as much damage, but I don't need it because this is like a regular person. I love that. That's really cool. Let's write that down. Is this the moment? Love it. It's fucking cool. I love it in MMORPGs when you get a talent that combos with some other skill. Combos are fun. Yes. Perhaps the weapon should gain abilities that augment the character talents. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. I mean, like, as it levels, first of all, having a talent tree is a super cool idea because that means that they can choose the abilities that they think would complement their own abilities. But also, as the DM, we can design the item to complement the abilities we know exist already with them or what they're going to get. You know, you could design, and this is so cool. I'm going to write this down, but like you could design an item and you could design it all the way from level 1 to level 20 so that as the player levels up, you have already matched its abilities to complement the abilities you know the player is going to get as a result of leveling up, which is pretty fucking awesome. That's super cool. I love it. I am so happy that we got to do this. This was super, super fun. I think this was more fun than prepping whatever fucking campaign that I was working on. And we all got to create something totally new. I'm guessing that you guys can use any of this stuff. You know what I'll do? I'm going to make this public access. And I'm going to copy... Let's organize this a little bit better before we end the stream here. Let's say that this is... What's the best way to do this? Oh, hey, Asher. How's it going? Nice to see you. Asher is also a DM, a friend of mine, IRL. Thank you for stopping by. But we had a super good time tonight. That was super, super fun. Here's what I want to do. I want to make a new page entirely. Also, everybody, Asher is the person that turned me on to Notion. A straight tweet of his changed my fucking life, and now I put my entire life into Notion because it's the best. So you can all thank Asher for that. I think the other guys that are in chat here are going to be adopting Notion as well. It is the best tool in the history of tools. Community workshop. Vexer's community workshop. Yeah, buddy. Let's give it some swords. Let's give it a cool cover. Like a dungeon. Yeah. Like it. Maybe this one. Sick. And then we're going to move that page. Because I love Notion, it can do this easily. Where is it? What did we just do? Sorry, I put my whole life in here so you can see it. I don't care. It's fine. Go back. Evolving magic items. Tight. So this is the only page here for now. But I'll put some other content in here. I'll put some like guidelines for usage. I'll put some information about the stream so that if this makes its way around the interwebs, that people can sort of trace it back here and they can come and join us and make stuff too. So here's what I'll do. I'll make this public access. First of all, I'll put the link in chat so you guys can access it at any time. And then what I'll do is I'll go to Twitch right now. And I'll edit my panel. Panels. And in my... Oh, this all changed. Oh, fascinating. Helpful links. So in here, I'm going to change this to... Well, you know what? I'll just add another link here, which is... We need an emoji for it. We'll put... What's a good emoji for community workshop? Hammer? Yes, of course. If you guys come up with a better emoji, let me know. We'll call it community workshop creations. We'll give it that link. Ooh, handshakes is good too. Oh, handshakes is good too. I like both of them. Okay, we'll do handshakes. Yeah. Well done. I like it. I would internet handshake all of you. That's not how you do it. There you go. Internet handshake. Well done. You know what? We can all handshake right now. We'll do it in a second. Get your emoji ready. Oh, that's right. We work on things, on new ideas together as a community. Check out this database of what we've done in the past. And we'll save that. We'll see how that looks. Awesome! There she is. Our burgeoning community workshop, everybody. That's awesome. Well, damn, you guys. That turned out to be super, super fucking fun. That was awesome. I think this is probably a good time to end the stream. We went a little bit longer because I was just super fucking excited. But I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up. You guys are foundational members of this community, and I hope you keep coming back and doing this with me because this was rad. This was way more fun than me just prepping my campaign and hoping people will watch. This was super, super cool. I hope that everybody got a taste of what it's like to be creative with other people. And I know that we only got to the first part of creativity, often the most fun part, which is, you know, again, that really, really wide net, that wide open funnel where there are no bad ideas. It's blue sky brainstorming, and we're just looking for as much inspiration and fun as we can possibly find. Country roads. Oh my God, my girlfriend and I sing that to each other all the time, mostly to annoy each other. Because when it's like real quiet and you just hear, take me, and it's really a lot. But that's what this community is about. That's what I'm trying to build here, is a group of people that, like you guys, want to come and be creative and work on stuff. And what I love about this community workshop thing is that this feels like ours. Like those ideas, that set of evolving magic items, that belongs to me. That belongs to Son of Sofa Man. That belongs to Root of All Beers. That's like collaborative stuff, you know? Like, let's fucking put some credits here. I don't know if we can do this one if it grows bigger, but like, contributors, let's do it. Oh wait, what did I make this? I gotta make sure that this is okay. It's read. In fact, I think you can comment. I think can comment. Cool. Now you guys can comment on it too. Country roads, take me home. My mic is not set up for singing, and I can't sing, so I'm not gonna do that to you guys. But contributors, let's make this a call-out block. Contributors, our handshake emoji, of course, again. Something that we can't do in real life anymore, thanks to coronavirus. So that means that we're just gonna have to do it virtually. So we're gonna say Son of Sofa Man and Root of All Beers. Immortalized. You've made it. Well done. You're famous now. With me. You know me now. I think that would be cool if we ended the stream with a handshake. But before we do, before you guys leave, oh, date timestamp. I think it's got that. Last changed? Maybe? I don't know. Let me look. Go back to the... Ah, damn it. We lost it. If you go to the public page, what does it say? No, that's not the public page. Incognito mode. What we got here? Oh, yeah, it doesn't have a fucking... Well, that's lame. Let's see what we can do about that. Can we say... Call out... calendar? Yeah, calendar. I love emoji, you guys. Last updated April. Can we do today? Yeah. And that will just change dynamically. Oh, I don't want it to be today. I want it to be this date. Oh, but today is fine, I think. I don't know if this updates dynamically or not, but we're just going to put April. You know what? I'll put today and we can check. I don't think it does update, so I think tomorrow it will say the actual date. And then Notion allows you to do columns, which is super cool, so we'll just make that. It's great. Cool. Okay, so before we end, I want to call attention to one other thing that I talked about at the beginning of the stream, just because I have some people here now that weren't here in the beginning. But let me switch back to... Okay. So the thing I want to talk about again is, if you weren't here in the beginning, I called out some friends of mine, and I want to do the same thing again. So today I want to call out a company called Han Cholo. So they're here in LA where I live. They're good friends of mine. We've played D&D together, and they are a nerdy jewelry brand. And I know that sounds weird, but it's not at all. It's super fucking cool. They make stuff for Voltron. They make stuff for He-Man and She-Ra, and they have the D&D license as well. So they make a lot of really cool stuff. HANCHOLO. Let me see if I can put their link in chat. But before I do, I just wanted to call out the fact that they recently had their entire store broken into and all of their inventory stolen. It really sucks. They are super, super cool people. They make super cool items, and they don't deserve to have this shit happen to them, especially in the time of coronavirus where all these local businesses are struggling. I showed some of their products off earlier that I have. If you guys were wondering what this ring was on my finger, check that shit out. Look at that. How cool is that? I wear this every time I DM or play D&D at all because it's like the best thing ever. Or if I go to like a nerdy conference or anything, because I'm a game designer, so all my conferences are nerdy. I wear this shit. They also have super cool pins. I know, the ring is so fucking cool. I love it. Can you guys see this? I just use my water bottle as a mount. Look at that boy. Hang on, I can't see what I'm showing you. But like, look at this. How cool is that? It's a pin. It's awesome. They make that. They make this. Super cool pin. They make these. Ampersand and a beholder pin. Oop. They make patches like this. And they make this guy. And they have a bunch of other really cool shit too. They have like serpent rings and everything. It's honestly like their stuff is super fucking cool. I'll put their thing in chat. But check that out. I can show you their website real quick. So go to collections and look. So they got Transformers, they have Power Rangers, Voltron, She-Ra, Universal Monsters, and of course our favorite. I want this. Look at this thing. That's so cool. Can't get cooler than that. Come on. You know, if you want, you should go to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and you can probably pay someone $10-20 to make you a logo. It's a really good manifestation of the gig economy. But look how cool that ring is. Isn't that rad? And it's obviously it's high quality stuff. It's like sterling silver and shit like that. Look at this D&D crit ring. It's pretty fucking cool. They have cuffs. They have pins. They have D20 earrings. They have ampersand cufflinks if you want to look really baller if you play D&D in a suit. I thought this was the coolest. These two are super cool. These three are super. All their shit is so cool. And they got all their whole stock got stolen. It was honestly awful. And I feel so bad for them because they are amazing people. And I hope that their business, I hope they're insured. I hope their business can recover from it. But like, all of their shit is super cool. And I know it's pricey, but it's jewelry. It's worth every penny. It's gonna last forever. Look at this shit. Yeah, that's where it's at. Look at that. Show it to me on a finger. Oh yeah, that's so fucking cool. I love that shit. Oh, I love these guys. Anyway, so it's very sad what happened to them. And but they still have these licenses. They're still going to be making jewelry. You guys can still, yeah. I think they hopefully have insurance, but either way, it's tough. So I just want to call that out. So, you know, go support them. If anything, if you don't have the money to support them, just go follow them on Facebook. Go sign up for their mailing list. Spread the word around. They're just really good friends of mine. They're really good people. They're huge D&D fans. Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. So that's really the only thing. I guess the other thing to talk about would be that we have nerd friends called Nerdstrong. So Nerdstrong Gym, I'll put that in chat as well. If you are struggling to stay fit during this time, my gym, which is called Nerdstrong here in LA, has started doing everything online. And so they do workouts on Twitch. They also have workouts on Zoom if you want some personal attention and, you know, you want your form looked at or whatever. But even if you've never worked out before, it's totally easy. It's like a great way to get into it. No one has to watch you do it. You can set your own pace. It's on Twitch. You do whatever you want. Coach Andrew is a nerd himself. The whole community is full of nerds, of people that play D&D and shit. And it's a great way in this time of quarantine to just get your body moving a little bit. So they work out. I work out with them at 7 a.m. every morning. They also do workouts at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the evening, and sometimes they have bonus workouts at like 10 a.m. and stuff. So, never worked out, or if you want someone to sort of get fit with that's nerdy in speech or language, it's super cool. They actually do workouts that involve rolling d20s. If you like roll a natural 20, you get a breast for a little while, or you skip a set. If you roll a natural 1, you add reps to your thing. It's just a cool way to get fit that sort of speaks to us, which is great. Yeah, it's awesome. You should definitely go check it out. Andrew is the guy that runs it. He's an awesome coach, and they're just friends of mine as well, and I want to plug everybody I can. So check those guys out. Let them know that I sent you, whichever one you decide to check out. Both are super cool. Anyway, thank you guys for participating. This was the most fun I've had on Twitch so far, and it was awesome. I think this is going to be something that I want to do a lot more of. I would even say that maybe both of my streams per week should be like this. This would be super, super fun. So thank you for coming up and doing this with me, you guys. Last thing I'm going to plug here is the Discord again, so that you guys can make sure you're in it. Let's see. Ooh, we already had a new person in Discord, which is great. Why? Where's the invite code? Right. Thank you for coming. This was super fun. I loved it. I could do this fucking ever. This is so great. Okay. Anyway, hop in the Discord if you want to chat more. We can talk more about how we want the stream to evolve. We want the community involved. This is a great time to get started. And yeah, true. I agree. I mean, I still like the guest thing. I think the guest thing would still be cool, but I love talking to you guys. That's why I'm here, is to talk with you guys in the community. So you guys are the foundations of this community. You were here when it started. Let's all sign off with a handshake, because we did some good work today, and every good community workshop session should end with a community handshake. So I'm going to fucking handshake for you guys right now. Best I can. I would do it over the internet if I could, but I can't. So that's the best I got. Thank you guys for working with me. Shake hands. And I will see you next time. Thursdays. No, Fridays. We changed it. Fridays, 12 o'clock. Do it. Digital fist bump works for me. I can do that too. I know all the emojis. There you go. Boom. Digital fist bump. Did it. Thank you all. And I will see you on Friday. I don't have a stream ending. I do have a stream ending. We'll go to that. I'll stick around and chat for a while. Thanks, everybody.
Done.